What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Michael and welcome to FudgeMuppet. Today I'm very excited to showcase our top 5 melee builds in Fallout 4. You guys keep asking us what melee build is best for your playthrough, so here's a sampler with something fresh and unique to fit whatever vibe you're looking for. Before we get into the 5 sensational builds, I want to clarify that these are pure melee builds. They don't use guns and they don't use a melee stealth playstyle. These beasts just get vicious in the face of their enemies, up close and personal, tearing the battlefield to shreds. One of these builds will be using an unarmed weapon too, because we don't have enough unarmed builds to give them their own video, and technically it counts as melee anyway. First up, we have the Raider. This broken man has a lust for killing, although like a lot of evil villains throughout the ages, he does not tell himself that he's actually sinful. He starts out killing in the military and he's damn good at it, and deep down he knows that even though others see him as a hero, he shouldn't be loving the slaughter so much. He keeps his unexpected feelings of contentment and happiness secret, and when he leaves the military to start a family, he decides to aim for a more peaceful life, free from his dark passion. That is until the bombs fall, and he's left in a destroyed version of the world he once prospered in. He then proceeds to defend himself from the raiders in Concord, decimating them and smearing their blood along the streets. All the feelings of exhilaration return, and again the man is hooked. He's not in the wrong though, right? Because he was only defending himself after all. It is this justification that follows him for the whole game, as he literally becomes a raider, slaughtering and pillaging in the name of the greater good. The super mutants in Trinity Tower must be killed so that Strong can escape. Roaming traders who won't give him free stim packs must be murdered so that he has the right equipment to find his missing son. You get the idea. We recommend working with the railroad, as the raider is able to stand behind their noble cause and use it as an excuse to kill hundreds of people in the name of the so-called greater good. You can join whatever faction you like, because I then recommend joining the Raiders of Nuka World, siding with the Pack and the Disciples. This option wasn't mentioned in the original build because it came out before Nuka World was released. So if you want to live life to the fullest, wielding a bunch of different melee weapons in a playthrough that has an extremely gnarly feel to it, then this is the right build for you. Next on the list, we have a build perfect for those wanting a more chivalrous playthrough. Introducing the Knight build. Not exactly what you'd expect to see in the Fallout universe, but nonetheless super fitting once you get stuck into it. Garbed in polished shining armor with a Disciple's headpiece and a razor-sharp blade, you can't get more knightly than this in the Wasteland. The Knight is the ultimate protector and dishes out huge amounts of damage due to the Blitz perk. He ends up with super high agility, but also has high strength and endurance, making him a very tanky build that zips around the battlefield super fast. So he's got a sweet aesthetic and an unstoppable playstyle, but how about the role-playing? Well, this build obviously has you covered there, as we've based his values and motives off that of a medieval knight. The knight values justice and order, fighting to keep the peace and rising through the ranks as a warrior under the Brotherhood of Steel. He personally views the Brotherhood of Steel as a good faction for the Commonwealth, mainly due to the fact that they have a clear-cut code and live by it strictly. They also value companionship and have a hierarchy based on merit and contribution to the cause. He doesn't necessarily have to care about the preservation of technology and the rest of their beliefs as much. We also made him love the tales of King Arthur in his backstory. The Arthurian touch is made even better in the Wasteland because he is rising through the ranks of a faction that he considers knightly, which is led by a man named Arthur Maxson. The knight will also eradicate those with poor morals, such as the raider clans in Nuka World and other thieves and murderers. Third in the video, we come across a drunker Wasteland warrior, Grognak the Barbarian. This build is awesome for anyone wanting a more action-packed, crazy fun experience in Fallout 4, filled with cinematic finishes and plenty of player freedom. Obviously, being a very lore-friendly channel, we didn't make this build be the Grognak the Barbarian, but rather he's a meathead who decided to take on Grognak's role in the new post-apocalyptic world. This build was once simply known as Steve, and he was secretly obsessed with the comics before the bombs dropped. He would never tell his meathead friends, as they'd call him a nerd, but he loved Grognak and his passion was acting like him. Now, Steve wasn't very smart, so his interpretation of Grognak doesn't necessarily have to be accurate. He went to the gym so he could be big and strong like Grognak, and he went to nightclubs so he could spend time rescuing women from the company of bad men. He was always happy to get wasted and party the weekend away. After emerging from Vault 111, he is crushed, but after stumbling across Grognak's axe and costume in Hubris Comics with his companion Kate, his motivation for living is revived, and he is reminded of Grognak's values. He decides to devote himself to protecting the wasteland from evil with a giant axe, all whilst having fun with women and liquor. This build is going to have a stupidly high amount of strength due to the Party Boy perk and a special brew known as the Dirty Wastelander. This playstyle makes Grognak the Barbarian very fun, and it can definitely give you a lighter but still exciting playthrough that doesn't take itself way too seriously. This character will also be using the Bloody Mess perk for extra satisfaction. Top melee build number 4 has one of the patchiest but coolest aesthetics, and this is the Gladiator. The Gladiator is a combat-oriented arena character, and he will eventually have you building your own arena to hold battles in. With the crowd cheering and your back to the wall, covered head to toe in blood, the Gladiator is an absolute adrenaline rush for any Fallout 4 fan. Playing this build, your underlying motivation will be to prove your worth as a warrior, a combatant, and an athlete. In terms of roleplaying, you'll be leaping at every opportunity to prove yourself, and you'll actually view all of the factions you can join as weak and cowardly. The justification for that is all explained in detail in the build itself. This is also that build I mentioned who uses an unarmed weapon, the Furious Power Fist, which increases damage for each consecutive hit landed on the same target. He wears polished sturdy metal on his legs and right arm, but heavy polished metal on his left arm. He then has the studded sturdy leather chest piece and the polished Assaultron helmet, road leathers underneath, of course. If punching people to death and building advanced arena settlements to test your metal sounds fun to you, then this is the perfect build. One other really cool thing about roleplaying is that he doesn't like giving himself too much of an advantage. Think of how Caesar's Legion were all natural and didn't use medicine, but only natural remedies. As a result, this build avoids stim packs, rat-away, guns, and even power armor. In spite of this, he's still one hell of a fighter and won't go down without a crazy fight. The final build on our list is none other than the Samurai build, the ultimate Ronin. The Samurai was raised by an American father and Japanese mother and definitely gravitated more towards studying and admiring the Japanese culture. His mother had immigrated with her parents to America when she was 10, and as a result she brought with her plenty of Japanese stories and also a katana, which the young Samurai build really loved. As he grew older, he gained a keen interest in martial arts and joined a dojo to learn judo. Eventually, his master also showed him a bit of kenjutsu, and immediately the samurai was hooked on the way of the sword. He studied traditional Japanese Bushido values, and even in the wasteland he continues to live by them as best as he can to bring justice to the Commonwealth. He uses a blitz melee playstyle which fits his agile theme perfectly as he slices with blinding speed and alien precision. Things get pretty heated in battle with this guy, not because he loses his calm, but because his sword is literally covered in fire. He uses VATS and non-stop critical hits to one-shot kill all those who deserve it, leaving a trail of fire and smoke from his sword in his wake. Just like the Knight build and our recent Viking build, the Samurai isn't meant to be a historical representation, but rather a lore-friendly, super wacky and fun version of the Samurai thrown into the Fallout universe. So I hope that I've been able to show you a new Fallout 4 build to play, and I also hope you thoroughly enjoyed watching this video. Thank you so much for tuning into FudgeMuppet. If you're looking to see more, do check out our channel and subscribe if you like what you see. Social media links are in the description if you want to come talk to us. My name is Michael, and I look forward to nerding out with you all again very soon.